If you're considering starting to use papers for your academic work, there are some really useful things that you might want to know before you start. So one of them is that in papers, there's a place to define your preferences. And in there you can, amongst other things, define what format do you want your citations in, let's say APA 6. Or other formats. And the other important thing is to define where you want your papers to be saving to. So paper saves a file with everything that you've got. And ideally, if you have that on a folder that's covered by Dropbox or OneDrive, it means that you'll always be covered, like you'll never lose that work. Because, after a few years, you do save a lot of papers and a lot of highlighted information and things that you've summarized, so it does become quite precious. Another thing is that for each paper that you've got, it has some data about it, and this is what is then brought into Word when you're doing your citations. So on the top of that data, you'll see that there's a type. And in this particular case, it's a journal article. So it shows me title, subtitle, authors, and journal, and other things. And if I select it as a website article, for example, a conference proceeding or a book, then it'll show me different things so that I have other fields to fill out. Let's say this is a book chapter. You'll see that this is changed automatically, and I can fill out the name of the book, for example, and etc. I'm just going to turn that back into a journal article so that you can see. So there's all sorts of fields here, but really the ones that really matter are the ones that are going to be covered in your citation that you need. So if it's a journal article, for example, what you need is the journal and volume, issue, pages, and date that it was published, and authors. So that's the relevant information to put in here. Whereas if it's a book, for example, the city does matter, so you'd be filling out the city. This is just to save you some time if you like. So another thing that I find really important is I've got a sample essay here. So I'm now in Microsoft Word. And the basic thing for a citation is that you're able to show who was the author. So let's say that I put Winnicott as the author here. Inserting a citation. And it just generates this, they call it a citation key. So automatically, this citation key will generate the basic type of citation, which is name of the author or authors and year. And I'll just demonstrate. If I go and format manuscript, you see that it replaced with author and year, and then it creates the reference list below. However, I'm going to go back into what it was before, if I can. Yeah. So if I don't actually want that format, and let's say that this is a quote. And if it's a quote, then I need to have the page number on it. Then I need to change this citation key. And in order to do that, Papers has a really important page on their support website that shows you all the modifiers for that that you can use, basically. So the basic one is this one that is automatically there, and it creates this, so author and date. If you want to add C, for example, or word before, if you want to add a word after, so if you want to add a page number, so in this case I want to add a page number, so I will add P point in the number of the page so that it then generates this here. So I'm just going to do that, and this is page, let's say 1, 2, 3. And I'll give another example because this is a really common one too. If you want to say as shown by Smith, for example, and the year, and not actually have it show Smith twice, then you would add, what's it like? So an asterisk before the name so that it doesn't show the name. So I'm going to add the asterisk, and then I'm going to format the manuscript. So as you can see in this first case that I added the number of the page, it now replaced the citation with the number of the page. And in the case where I've removed the name of the author, it just shows the year. So I would say something like as discussed by Winnicott. So that's the scenario. So there's a lot of modifiers that you can use. So in the papers support page, which you can sort of just Google, you'll be able to search for citations, modifiers, and you'll find all of these. And lastly, I just want to say that for some PDFs, when you drag a PDF onto papers and it's searchable, and you can sort of select the text in it, and you can highlight, you know, just going to open it up, and I can do my highlights here. And when you do a highlight, it automatically gets sent to the notes on the right hand side, which is really useful because a few years later, when you have no idea what you've read on that paper, you just open up a paper and see whatever you've highlighted, and it's a really nice way to summarize what you've read ages ago in a couple of minutes of just looking at it. So this is a really useful functionality, but sometimes when you're given a PDF that's been a scan done by a teacher, for example, or whoever, it doesn't really come as a searchable PDF. So for example, I've just opened this PDF and it's like an image. I can't really select the text in it. So it's not considered a searchable PDF. And you can still drag it onto papers, but you won't be able to do the nice highlighting stuff. So ideally, if you have a program like Adobe Acrobat, then there's a functionality there that's called Enhanced Scans, and in that you can click on Recognize Text in this file, and it goes through your file and it recognizes the text, so it converts it into a searchable PDF. So you can see now that I can actually select the text in that, and now I'm just going to save it, save. And from now on, this PDF, if I drag it onto papers, it'll be a searchable PDF, and I'll be able to highlight that text there. So this is just a tip. Some teachers will just do this, or a lot of times they don't even have to, because when you, like, say this example is an article coming directly from a journal, so the journal ones typically are all searchable, even ebooks sometimes. So A lot of them will automatically be searchable and you won't have that problem. But if you do have that problem and you have access to Adobe Acrobat, then feel free to do it yourself. And I think these were the first things that got me started. Maybe other questions will come, and they have a really good paid support page that you can sort of look up any help that you might need going forward. So good luck.